With that, I'll open public comment.
Good evening, Mr.
sir.
Chair. I'm great. Kevin Smith, 6 King Philip Drive. I noticed that there's some listening sessions coming up on, I'll call it the Lions Hall.
Okay.
And there's a reason I'm calling it the Lions Hall. So I just wanted to share with you an anecdotal story that happened between my wife and I recently. This was probably like 3 weeks ago. We were driving through the center of town, and I noticed that the Presbyterian Church had yellow caution tape up around the doors. And I said, uh-oh, I hope something's not wrong with the structure of that building. I said it would be a shame to lose both that building and the Lions Hall. And she said, yeah, and the Reverend Morrison House. And I said, yeah, that's what I said, the Lions Hall. And she goes, no, I know you said that. I'm talking about the Reverend Morrison House, the red house. And I said, no. I go, that's the same thing. She goes, no, it's not. She goes, the Morrison House is the thing, the red house down Pillsbury Road. And then she pulls out her phone and starts going on the internet, pulls up the Historical Society and shows me the Morrison House being the red house. And I said, no, that's the Morrison House Museum. The other thing is the Reverend Morrison Meeting House. And that's when it occurred to, I said to her, what did you think the warrant articles were when you went and voted? She said, I thought they were to fix the red house. She said, I couldn't figure out why we were spending $3 million to fix the red house. She said, and then the second warrant article, she said, I thought it was to fix both the Lions Hall and the red house. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And she goes, no. And I know it sounds like we don't talk. We do, but we don't talk about this stuff, believe it or not. So she gave me permission to share this story, Art. So then she said, she goes, because she's a school teacher in town, she said, well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to the teachers that are Londonderry residents and see what they thought. So she comes home the next day and she says, to a person that she talked to at the school, they thought the warrant articles were about the red house and not about the Lions Hall. So I share that story with you because I think for those of us that are like in the 0.5% town hall bubble, we all understand what's being talked about. But for those people who have a life outside of here, they may have actually been confused on what the warrant articles were intending to fix. So going forward for the marketing of what's going to happen there, I just think a much better job needs to be done about distinguishing what is the meeting house / Lions Hall and what is actually the museum on Pillsbury Road. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.